Hello, this is Toby again from Toby's Urban Sketch, and it's time for another one of my little 10-minute challenges. It's going to be another Instagram challenge. This is rather nepotistically, or maybe narcissistically, my own challenge. It's called #DrawToby'sCorner. It's a photo I took on a street that, to be honest, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was somewhere near Oxford Street in London. And as ever, there's a link in the description to the reference for you to find. If you enjoy these videos, please do leave a comment, like and subscribe. It's really good to know that what I'm doing is useful. Anyway, we'll get started very shortly. I'm just going to be using a 0.3mm Winsor Newton pen, slightly different palette to normal. It's got a few different and brighter colours in there. I use it for more sort of illustrative painting. Let's see what we can do in our little 10 minutes. So we'll go straight ahead. This is a Winsor Newton. It's a Moleskine sketchbook as well, by the way. A5 and in portrait, as you can see, which is an interesting way of painting, different to the square one I've been using recently. More closer to more sort of normal cold press watercolour paper. As ever, just starting by getting in some of the big shapes. And I've actually gone for some details quickly as well. So there's these little bits of metalwork which are quite interesting. There's a lot of people in this scene. I put one up of this already. So I suppose I've cheated by already doing this once before. But I didn't put people in it. And lots of people have joined in with this challenge, which is great. And I really liked what they'd done with the people. So in particular, there's a chap here with a bike, which is on its side. I think that's one of the reasons I took this photo. I thought it was quite interesting, filled with all these characters. So it was a bit silly of me not to include them in my first effort. So here's a second effort. So just initially, just getting their sort of vague outlines, keeping the idea of perspective in mind. So their heads are all going to be about the same distance away. Some of them are on the pavement and some are off, so this is why this head's lower, this head's lower. These people are not on the pavement, so they're not all on the same level. And same over here by the looks of things. So there's the outlines of our people, and we'll just bring the doorway down. It needs to finish about there. And then we've got the edge of this window coming in as well, which actually sort of comes out of sight in the picture. And then we need to get the top in. And we're just big shapes is all we're doing. And then there's another street coming up like this. So just going to try and get the tops of all these buildings in and work out how much detail we want to go down with. So I'm sort of drawing like a horizon line almost. And that gives us the options of, given we're doing this in 10 minutes, just working out how much detail we actually want to put in. So there's a car here in the background, which is forming the base of our view, and there's a taxi coming in about here with its wheels. So I'm just looking, his wheels are about hip height of this gentleman, and then its windows are here. And we could just bring some nice verticals in, vertical lines. The perspective, the vanishing lines are set by the horizontals, but the verticals sort of just gives you a tiny bit more information about what's actually going on. So we'll add these windows in now. We've got 3 floors of windows above the ground floor. Some of them have got fascinating little details under. Because of the perspective, the angle of the photo, we're also dealing with the additional vertical perspective. So these windows are all a bit slanted like this. I've just exaggerated it exaggerated it there. If that doesn't make sense, what I'm meaning by vertical perspective, please do leave a comment and I'll try and explain a bit better when I'm less stressed by trying to finish this in 10 minutes. How are we doing so far? We've been going 4 minutes. So I just want to bring this doorway down, get some shape inside. Get just the idea of these textures underneath here as well. Okay, and I'm going to switch to a much bolder, it's a 0.5 Unipin pen, but it's significantly bolder than that Winsor Newton. I think the Unipin pens do just seem to be, well actually it's more that the Winsor Newton ones seem to be very fine for their size, which I quite like, so I tend to start my sketches with them, and I've got a few 0.5s that I then move on to sometimes, like now. And you can see that just going over some of these lines really brings them out, brings them forward. Just get some of the idea of these bits of metal work, which is quite interesting in front, and also that sort of not parodies, but parallels the metalwork, the bigger metalwork here. And then we don't need to outline everything in this bold, so we can just do some details like that. And there's a little window up here. And let's just get the idea of the windows going as well. And we can do a little bit of texture and idea of some details here as well. Okay, so how are we doing? Getting there. I just want to resolve these people a little bit more. So, you may have seen my video on people, and what I say is they're all just shapes. So, as I do this next one, this is the bike first. Again, all just shapes. And we just got a sort of a circle, a sort of rhomboid-like shape, or a rectangle often the body, and then the legs can just be a rectangle like that. And I think that's a decent enough person. And in the background, this guy's walking, so if we separate the legs out, you'll get the effect of someone moving. These people aren't really in the sort of main image, so we don't need to do much more than do some suggestions of shapes. He's looking at his phone, so we'll do that. We'll get our pavement line in. That explains why these people are lower, they're not on the pavement. A few lines of perspective on the pavement as well. And I think if we just literally do this horizon line and come along at the bottom and just get that line bold as well, that's probably enough detail for this whole side of the street. And we have a few minutes left. So what we're going to do with the colour is quite a gloomy image. So let's just start with some Payne's grey and get some nice tone going. The shadows on the front of the building here. So a bit more Payne's grey, just drop in those windows and underneath. How can we brighten it up a little? Well, let's try something fun with the people. So if we just add little bits, so that's a transparent pyrrole orange. Oh no, that's not true, that's scarlet. This is the pyrrole orange. Just pop little drops of these bright colours. So handsy yellow. Maybe if we take a blue, that will neutralise a lot of these reddy orange tones, and we can just mute them down a little bit. I'm going to take a bit more blue so that we get I think this is cobalt blue that I'm picking up and mixing. And that will just give us a chance to splash something into the sky. Join up a few of these dots. Whoa, just got 1 minute left. I probably spent too long drawing to finish my own 10-minute challenge, sadly. But we'll see what we manage. If I just mix all these together to get a bit of a warm grey. Oh, way too much. Just wonder about dropping that along the horizon line. And at the bottom, even more warmth at the bottom, give these cars a bit of shape. Okay, and that is pretty much our 10 minutes. So it's a really simple bit of colour there, but quite an effective pen sketch. And what we've done with the pen sketch is just give this really clear perspective. The verticals bringing in this sort of just idea of a little bit of shape and detail. And lets the eye know exactly what's going on here without painting anything at all. We've had some fun putting in people, and then just enough detail and sort of grunginess to fit the original scene in here. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll probably do another couple of minutes just seeing what else I can add, little touches to just bring something else to the scene. And as if by magic, we're now pretty much dry, I think. I've waited about 10 minutes between the times. And just let's have a little think about how we can just lift this a little bit more. So one thing that's good is just bringing in even more contrast. So getting more of our Payne's grey. And just where we've got the shadows, like in the windows and in the door, just adding another layer, about the same intensity, but with that sort of glazing layering effect. Just 2 layers are more intense than one. Simple as that, really. And in the window, there's, in the actual image, we've got a few sort of lights and things glowing. I think just literally popping some splashes in. And then if we go again with the Payne's grey, we can just join up a couple of them, leave some of them separate, move it around a bit. That kind of will warm up the grey as well. And if we just contrast that with a few areas which are darker as well. Okay, and then, so we've got the blue only in one place. I never like just having a colour in one place, although we have used it elsewhere to neutralise in these oranges and things. But we can definitely introduce it into these windows. And if we just vary the intensity a little bit, overpaint some of that grey, add some looser splashes into the windows we haven't really sketched. And I think you can also just get a bit more going on in the sky. Maybe a little sort of really intense bits there, just dropped in and moved around, just gives it something else. I think we could also just try doing some spots in here, so it gives the effect of windows rather than without really having to draw or paint anything. And then where else can we add a little bit? Well, let's try our people. At the moment their heads are all blank. I think I might leave it like that, but let's have a little play and see what happens. So just got a bit more of the transparent pyrrole orange, and just bringing that around to add a little bit more shape. And the same with our chap here. And then the man at the back is already a bit more neutral, so we just perhaps emphasise that by adding a bit more of a neutral wash in. I'm just going to mix a tiny bit more here because that was too watery. Ooh, even more. Just going to put a little bit of blue on top, that will do the job. There we go. And then we got our yellow characters. Emphasize the yellow. And then of course, things which really bring shape is adding little shadows. Shows that people are people are real, they're connected to the floor. So if we do that, just, you know, as well, taking a little bit of care to understand how the shadow would be affected by this pavement. Adds that tiny bit of realism. And then I wonder, we sort of lost the bike a little bit, and I'm just wondering if we can bring that out. I'll have a think about that in a second. It's going to add a bit of shape to the top of our cars. And a little bit of Payne's grey in areas here as well. Again, just sort of giving this idea that there might be some details in there. We'll pop some reds and orange splashes. There we go. Just going to let this area dry for 2 seconds and then see if we can bring out that bike a little bit more. And so let's see what we can do. I'm going to just get out my 0.5mm Unipin again and see what happens if we just connect that wheel. And maybe just connect this one as well. Just add some more hard lines and give this saddle some real depth. Maybe add in the idea of a chain. All I'm trying to do is just make it contrast more with the background. I think that's probably enough. If we just give the handlebars here as well. There we go. I think that's more than enough. While I've got the pen out, I might just bring out that horizon again. Just really loose lines. I could fill in little gaps I noticed, like I was missing a bit there. And maybe add a bit of texture down this pavement. Just directional lines show your eye where the pavement is. So on the pavement which is flat, we draw like this, and on the pavement which is vertical, just going up and down like this. I think that's enough for a little challenge. So this is hashtag Draw Toby's Corner, a street that I can't remember exactly where it is, and we've just done a simple pen sketch, enough shape to let us know what's going on, and really simple colours. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, feel free to join in, leave a comment, like, subscribe, have a look on my Instagram to see this and also what everyone else has done who's joined in. And thank you very much again for watching.